The last time I was in Oklahoma and did a dead mall video, it got over 1 million views. So I don't know if this one will do that kind of viewership, but I did get recommended to come check out the mall in Lawton. There are cars in the parking lot. It looks like it's definitely not a dead mall, but we'll see what it looks like inside. You know, Lawton is a little bit bigger than some of these other towns that have had these dead malls. And so let's learn a little bit about Lawton and check out the Central Plaza Mall. Lawton is located in southwestern Oklahoma. It is the county seat of Comanche County with a population of 90,381, making it the sixth largest city in the state. You can see the Comanche County Courthouse there. It's developed on a former reservation land of the Kiowa, Comanche, and Apache peoples and named after Major General Henry Ware Lawton, who served in the Civil War, where he earned the Medal of Honor and was killed in action in the Philippine-American War. The city's proximity to the Fort Sill military reservation gave Lawton economic and population stability throughout the 20th century. Although Lawton's economy is still largely dependent on Fort Sill, it has grown to encompass manufacturing, higher education, healthcare, and retail, which is why we're here today. As I was driving around downtown, I couldn't really find a historic downtown area, and then eventually I learned that most of the original downtown was demolished to make room for the mall, including many buildings dating back to Lawton's early 1900s founding. It wasn't just a few buildings, it was one of the more extreme examples of a U.S. city essentially wiping out its downtown to build a mall. At the time, it actually made sense to a lot of people. In the 60s and 70s, there was a nationwide urban renewal trend. Many cities were doing similar things. Downtown Lawton had begun to decline, with vacant buildings and businesses moving elsewhere. Leaders believed a modern indoor mall would bring back shoppers and modernize the city. Many citizens and city leaders supported the project as progress and cleanup. This wasn't overly controversial at the time, but some residents did object to losing historic buildings. However, historic preservation wasn't as strong a movement as it is today. And just on the right here is where the mall will be in relation to the downtown area. So as we drive around, you'll see there's JCPenney. It's one of the anchor stores there. On one end, there's an east entry. Then there's another couple entries on this side of the building. And over here you don't see as many cars, but you see a few here and there. On the back side of the building, I didn't get video, but this is from Google Earth. You can see how they've kind of closed up an anchor store on this side. There's no cars over here. But then over there's JCPenney anchor store. So let's go in the north entry and check things out. Before we go in, you can see these movie posters, which aren't movie posters anymore. So signs that there maybe used to be a theater. So as we go in, we'll skip kind of ahead into the middle of the mall. I'll come back to where we came in at the end of the video. So there's like two long hallways, kind of down and back, and then there's two shorter ones. And we'll head down one of the longer hallways first. And there are several stores open, so it's not like an empty mall. You can see here, I'm showing you several stores, but then you'll see there's a lot more that are empty. So Central Plaza was formerly called Central Mall. It was opened in 1979, was last renovated in 2002. There's two anchor stores. One is JCPenney and the other is Fista. We'll talk about Fista here in a minute, which is right down there at the end of this hallway. So Central Mall was suffering from gang issues in 2007. They had flooding issues in 2016. Sears closed in 2017, Dillard's in 2020. So the city of Lawton purchased the mall for $14 million in 2021 from Cohan Retail Investment Group. And as we get to this part of the mall, it looks like a food court area. There's another food court area, which I'll show you at the end of the video. So it's kind of like two areas that they at least used to have a food court. As you can see, lots of empty space and a little bit of business there. There's a nail salon. Seems like all these dead or almost dead malls have a nail salon. So back to the history of the mall. So the city of Lawton purchased that mall in 2021, and the Fista Development Trust Authority holds a 25-year lease to house various defense-related businesses in the mall.
So they renamed the mall the Plaza in 2021, and they announced redevelopment plans. There are all the businesses in the mall. So this is near the center of the mall. I said that little short hallway. So this was back over where I showed on the Google map where it had the building closed. So that would have been one of the anchor stores. And then I believe they have like a Victoria's Secret over here as well. So one of those are still open. So FISTA is one of the anchor stores. Stands for Fires, Innovation, Science, and Technology Accelerator. It's a defense tech innovation park and business hub tied to Fort Sill here in Lawton. The city bought the mall, they leased it to FISTA to redevelop it. So instead of retail stores, you now have labs, offices, secure defense spaces, and engineering work areas. It's basically a partially dead mall turned into a military tech campus. Here's a little video that can explain what they're trying to do here.
We're doing something with our mall that is going to uplift it and keep it going instead of it being that dying breed of mall out there in today's society. I believe that it's going to be something that will invigorate our community. As we've mentioned, it's going to bring high-paying jobs to our community. It's going to bring more people to our community. It's going to put us on the map here in Southwest Oklahoma, not only within the state of Oklahoma, but nationally.
What we're creating with the FISTA is an opportunity to have a diverse tenant pool inside a building that is going to create additional revenue.
So that video was shot 4 or 5 years ago, and not quite sure how they're doing, but it's an interesting concept. Obviously still lots of empty stores here in Central Plaza, but it is a nice mall. It's very clean. I came on a Saturday afternoon, so would have been one of the busier times, I would imagine. So it's not crazy busy. There's one of the anchor stores, JCPenney, surrounded by empty stores on this end of the mall. Some interesting games. A big giant claw game. You got Space Invaders here, like a giant Space Invaders game. I always liked Space Invaders as a kid. And down on this end, this is one of the other entries on the front end of the store that we came in on. And there's just really not much down here. I think that's a little security guard station. They had a couple security guards walking around, keeping track of things. I don't know if they've had any issues with crime. I know I mentioned they had some issues back in like 2007, so I don't know these days how it's going. It seemed pretty safe to me. Some families and kids in the area walking around the mall. But I'm showing you most of the empty stores, like I said, so there were several open still. There's some religious office space kind of areas down here. That's a sign usually of these dead malls where they have some non-traditional people in the office space area. The Cryptic Arcade. Let's go check it out. Not too many games in this arcade. Kind of spread out. Although I see they got skee ball, air hockey, and kind of like a pop-a-shot game. Those are always traditional games at the arcade. There's the Victoria's Secrets that still seems to be open. This is back towards the center of the mall where we first started the video. And then this is the hallway we walked in from that door that I didn't show you earlier. Basically a food court. There's not too many places to eat, but I did decide to contribute to the local economy here and got some Chinese food. And they have another arcade. They have the Cryptic Arcade and the Big Game Arcade. This is a smaller room, and the games are kind of packed side by side. So I don't know if there's as many games, but it's a smaller room, so it feels like they're all crammed in there. They got air hockey as well. Then right across the way from here, more of the movie posters, because there used to be the movie theater. There's still movie theaters in Lawton, but I guess they just decided to move them out of the mall. And that's the tour of the Lawton Central Plaza, formerly the Central Mall.
So as it looks like in the parking lot, definitely not what I would consider a totally dead mall. If I was to categorize it like a ghost town, category, I'd say maybe this one's unincorporated. It used to be a lot bigger, probably much smaller, and most of the important businesses have left. But this is a Saturday afternoon, probably about the busiest time you would have for a mall. And there were kids there, there were some families there, there were a few eating places that were open doing a little bit of business. Certainly, obviously, a fraction of probably what it used to be here in Lawton. So I don't know what the future is for Central Plaza Mall, but right now I'd say it's on the downward trajectory. But it was a nice, clean mall, and everybody seemed nice inside the mall. They did have some security there that I was not necessarily dodging, but you never know how people feel about you filming in their mall when it's obvious that you're filming the empty stores. But interesting place. Hopefully they can recover. Losing the movie theater, losing some of the anchor stores is not good. But yeah, nice clean mall. Glad I visited.